Hunter Biden had his wish granted from the Make-A-Wish Foundation to be his own sketch artist in his own trial. The judge in the case felt pity for the 54-year-old man boy and said that, quote, "If I can help a butterfly land on a handicapped kid's nose, I would do that, and this is like that." Well, Brian, I don't know about these paintings, though. I'd be like, can you?
Possibly might be one of his regrets in life, we'll see.
Apparently, Hunter Biden got his brother's widow addicted to crack while he was banging her. Got it? What a good dude. What a really nice guy. So, prosecutors revealed to the jury yesterday that Hunter Biden didn't just move in quickly on his dead brother's Beau Biden, who died of brain cancer, not Iraq. Beau Biden died of brain cancer while working a suit and tie job. He moved in on his wife, Haley, and then he got her hooked on crack. Haley is set to testify in the case, and mysteriously Joe Biden visited her a few days ago, most likely trying to buy her silence about the family dealings. Gracious. So that's a very interesting, very interesting little tidbit there. Another very interesting tidbit about all of this that sort of sets the table is that the evidence is just kind of demonstrable here. If you've ever bought a gun, and we just want to like sort of cover this so that we have just a real quick read on the whole story here. If you've ever bought or purchased a firearm, you fill out this form. This form should look very familiar to you. You can't buy a firearm without doing this. You have to do this. From a federally authorized gun dealer, and I buy lots of guns, I have to always fill out this form. My armorer knows me my name, right? Like the firearms sit in the back of the studio here in the shot. We love these things. No, but I don't get a pass. I don't get waved in. I have to fill this thing out every time. I get to sit there on the thing. And I better be answering the questions correctly. Hunter Biden didn't. Keep it up. Let's keep that up. Because there's a question here on the form that says, are you addicted to substances? You can see Hunter Biden's name right there. You can see the filing. And then you can see here, are you addicted to any kind of mainline narcotic or substance and so on. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is where Hunter gets in a lot of trouble. Because, you see, the problem was that Hunter Biden was addicted to an astonishing number of drugs at the time. And he was banging his dead brother's widow, getting her addicted to drugs at the time. And it made for a pretty shambolic situation. Now, here's an exclusive from Politico, far right-wing conspiracy site. So I don't know if we can believe them, but let's go ahead and read Politico's reporting here on this. What Politico says, and I'm going to summarize here because we've read this whole thing on air, it's a really incredible story, is that, read the top line here. President Joe Biden's son Hunter and his daughter-in-law Haley were involved in a bizarre incident in which Haley took Hunter's gun and threw it in a trash can behind a grocery store next to a high school. Delaware police began investigating, concerned that the trash can was across from a high school, and the missing gun could be used in a crime at the school. This is all according to the police report. But a curious thing happened. Secret Service agents approached the owner of the store where Hunter bought the gun and asked them to take the paperwork. You know, the federal NICS form I just showed you. The Secret Service wanted to confiscate that. Secret Service refuses to acknowledge that this actually happened. The gun store owner refused to supply the paperwork, suspecting that the Secret Service officers wanted to hide Hunter's ownership of the missing gun. So the Secret Service says it has no records of its agents doing this. So what was happening? Joe Biden, ALX, can you tell me, is there any reason that Joe Biden would be under Secret Service protection in 2018? I don't think so. Is this normal for vice presidents? I guess I'm asking a question. Like, is this normal? I don't know. I don't get it. Why would the Secret Service so quickly show up on the scene? So days later, the gun was returned when an old man who rummages through the grocery's trash can found it. The incident did not result in any charges or arrests. Now, here's what's absolutely and totally remarkable here. This is a very long and thorough story. What's incredible is that Hunter Biden goes on to get himself called in by the cops. Find this gun. You know, you can't just find a gun in a trash can and like shove it down your pants. You shouldn't do that. You should call the police immediately. Okay, you don't want to have guns, firearms that aren't yours or registered to you on your person. Don't do it. Don't do it, right? Don't do it. Be above board, obviously. Hunter Biden gets called in to answer some questions about this. And what does he do then? Really, really unbelievable. Check this out. The FBI also responded to the scene, according to people familiar with the situation. At the time, the FBI was monitoring Hunter Biden as part of an investigation that remains ongoing, currently focusing on his taxes. The FBI declined to comment. Okay, so FBI agents show up. In addition to questioning Haley, police called in Hunter to the scene where the gun was just thrown in the dumpster outside of the store's loading dock. And Hunter explained that he used the gun for target practice. At one point, two of the grocery store's employees, described by the police report as Mexican males, okay, their words, walked past the loading dock area, and Hunter told the police officer that the store had some suspicious people working at it. Asked if he was referring to the two Mexicans, Hunter said, yeah, probably illegal. I'm reading you this from Politico. According to the police report, when the police officer asked Hunter whether the gun had been used in a crime, the officer reported that Hunter became very agitated with me and asked me if I was intentionally trying to make him mad, meaning you're on drugs, right? Meaning you're on drugs. This is, of course, the thing that the cop's going to ask you. You're on drugs. I mean, has any reporter ever, like, brought you through the realities of this case? This is so depraved, these people. When the officer asked Hunter whether he had been doing drugs or drinking heavily, he responded, listen, it isn't like that. I think she believes I was going to kill myself, according to the report. An officer asked if Hunter had called his father about the incident before he arrived. Hunter responds, I never called my dad for anything, according to the report. Now, we know that to not be true. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the case that is at hand. We have touched on this and talked about this, but this is the case that we're currently talking about in the trial in Delaware. I want to sort of set the table here for, I think, that the basics of the case, which is Hunter Biden, fueled on coke, his dead brother's widow that he's hooking up with, that he got addicted to coke, get into an argument. They take the illegally purchased firearm, chuck it into a trash can that's by a school and a grocery store, right? Kind of like in between. The FBI and police investigate. Hunter Biden shows up and goes, what are you trying to make me mad, man? Huh? What are you doing? What are you doing? Then he sees two Mexican males. Okay, that's the police report. Two Mexican males walk by, and Hunter's like, they did it. They did it. Those guys, they're probably legal. According to the report. It's not me. I mean, it would make for a great story, and it would fit the character of these people. But no, according to the report, Hunter goes, look, two Mexican males, probably theirs. Suspicious character around here, probably illegal. It's in the report. So this is what's ongoing in the trial right now. Okay, this is what they're up against. It's pretty remarkable. One last little like despicable thing that has come to light over the last few days is this. Speaking of Beau Biden, this old report that Beau Biden helped keep a DuPont family heir out of prison for pedophilia. It's a rotten family, all of them. DuPont is obviously a very, very powerful family in Delaware, and they run the DuPont the DuPont company, and that's a big company in Delaware. There was there was an heir to the family fortune, the DuPont family fortune, who, in a child sexual abuse case against a DuPont family heir, who had, I can't even describe what he was doing to young children, and spared sentencing because of his last name, presumably. These people donate big time to the Bidens. Attorney General Beau Biden made sure that he extended it. He made sure that he guaranteed that daddy's donor never got prosecuted for these crimes. So, again, there's your setup for who these people are. All right? Okay. Now that we've gone that far, let's continue. What is the defense exactly for Hunter Biden in all this? Given the evidence, you're like, why don't you just throw away the key, right? Like, this guy is he's garbage. He's having to look at photos of himself naked smoking crack in the courtroom and say he wasn't doing that. New reports say that there was cocaine found on the gun holster and potentially the firearm itself. Let's make sure that we get the report out. ALX, I'm not sure if that's in the script or not. But there was like cocaine like found in the actual, like on the actual gun, on the actual firearm. It's pretty exceptional. So what was the defense exactly for Hunter Biden? What is the defense? What are they planning on saying about all this? Let's go.
This case is all about Hunter lying on a gun form, which the prosecution will easily prove with pictures, videos, texts, witnesses, and cocaine residue on the gun holster. But Hunter's lawyer says that's not Hunter's drug residue. It's Haley's, Hunter's brother's widow, the one he was sleeping with. Yeah, Hunter's throwing his brother's widow under the bus. The defense also said that Hunter didn't even want to buy a gun. Hunter just drove Joe Biden's black Cadillac down to the AT&T store to buy a phone. Across the street was a gun store where a pushy salesman convinced Hunter to buy a Colt Cobra 38 special revolver with a speed loader and a box of ammo. You know how pushy salesmen are. Prosecutors also pointed out that Hunter took out thousands of dollars in cash a day, presumably to buy drugs. The defense says it wasn't for drugs. Hunter just didn't own any credit cards. He keeps cash like Fannie.
Really great tie in there, Jesse. Not a great day for Hunter. The government is bringing some pretty strong evidence against him. It shows you exactly how much they have on the Biden family and how they could end the Biden family like that. It disgusts you because it shows you how broken our system is here in this country, and it sickens you because there is actually no justice here because the government's been sitting on this. Like the FBI didn't release a message in 2020 when Joe Biden was rigging the election that the Hunter Biden laptop's real and you should stop censoring it on social media. The FBI was the one helping censor it. They knew the damn thing was real. Everything is rigged. But you have to like confront a problem and you have to name it. You have to call it out at 1,000 yards, and you have to say, you know what? Like we're gonna go for that. That's gonna be the problem we're gonna go after. And so this is what is being laid bare right now in the court. The government is bringing in witnesses and experts, and they are testifying against Hunter Biden, and they are stacking up a pretty alarming preponderance of evidence and data. I just, how a jury is going to nullify this, I don't know. Here's the report from the first day in court yesterday.
Yeah, so Ashley Biden apparently shed a few tears while we were in there. I didn't personally see that, but our producer Jake Gibson did. I have to tell you though, Jesse, I was a bit surprised about that, given that Hunter Biden went on a pretty well-known book tour over this, about this book a couple of years ago. And, you know, we sat through listening to about an hour of Hunter's own words in his own voice, listening to his audiobook as he detailed his wild drug escapades, including him talking about how finding crack was his superpower. So that was an interesting point sitting there. You know, I was watching the jurors' faces this afternoon. One tried not to laugh as a message was read from Hunter to Hallie where he called her unhinged and crazy for calling the FBI about his gun. Meanwhile, she called them because he had left it in an unlocked car with the windows down, and she was afraid the kids were going to find it. And she also was afraid he was going to either harm himself or others, given the fact that he had just the day before been texting her about being on a car and smoking crack and talking about doing a drug deal with a guy named Mookie.
Oh, Mookie. You just should have stopped when you heard the guy's name. You said, nope, sorry. I knew this is probably going to turn back around on me. Not Mookie. Mookie's probably in Corn Pop's gang, says producer ALX. Ooh, man. The cringe overload is happening now. You know exactly the only card they're going to play. They're going to play a single card. The card is going to be, please believe that we are just victims here. We, this family, we are the victims, all right? With all of our history of being like pure human garbage. And I mean, like, going back to Joe Biden cheating on his wife with the babysitter, stealing another man's wife. Like, we need to establish that. Joe Biden stole another dude's wife. They were both married to other people, Jill and Joe. There's no special love story between these two. That's what they did. ALX, I don't see that as a reinforcement clip. Let's grab that. I want to grab that. That like, good. We don't play this enough. So Jill's the babysitter. Joe Biden can't help himself. Bad guy. And that's how that all got started. Stole another man's wife. So please trust my babysitter mother-in-law that I'm a good guy. I've changed my ways. And that this federal law that we're fighting tooth and nail for people who lie on their gun forms, like that, like lock everybody else up. Every other gun criminal. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris given 200,000 speeches about gun criminals in America and gun crime in America. Just not this guy. Just not him. Okay? He's that guy he's got to be protected. That's a call what you will by white privilege. I'm president. Doesn't matter. You know, I locked up all your black sons and all your black kids. Me, Joe Biden, I locked them all up. I literally wrote crime bills in the 80s and 90s that specifically locked up hundreds of thousands of black kids for like doing a scintilla of the amount of crack that my son's on GoPro doing. We can't show you the footage on his laptop because every time we do, the entire thing gets demonetized because there's so much crack that Hunter Biden's weighing that it looks like Mount St. Helens. This guy was doing so much crack. So don't lock up my son. I locked up all your kids. Don't lock up my kid. We're the victims, is what the Biden family's saying. They've been singing this tune for a long time, for a very long time, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the statement. Here's the official Biden statement. As a dad, I have boundless love for my son. No, dude, as a dad, you're a horrible example, and you're a horrible father. You never, ever had a consequence for your kid, and you let him live a life of degeneracy and evil, knowing that you could probably work the system, and you had enough corrupt friends, and you signed enough expenditure bills for the FBI and the superstate that they would protect your son no matter what he did. That's what you mean. You're actually a horrible father because no father would ever want his son to do this. I don't care how powerful you are. No one wants their sons to end up like Hunter. You want your son to end up like Don or Eric or Barron. Right? Right. Here we go.
President Biden is here in Delaware paying attention, getting updates from aides and family members. He's not here. He's at home, but he did release the statement. As the president, I don't and won't comment on pending federal cases. But as a dad, I have boundless love for my son, confidence in him, and respect for his strength. Our family has been through a lot together, and Jill and I are going to continue to be there for Hunter and our family with our love and support. The jury selection.
Okay. I have boundless love. Somebody who's kind of all out of love, I think, here is Miranda Devine, who is so spectacular on this. She's the original person who broke the laptop story. Nobody has actually been more hurt professionally than Miranda Devine by all of this, because this should have made her the Woodward and Bernstein. This was the primo report of all reports on a political bombshell. And then because of the Bidens rigging the election and meddling in the election, her story didn't get heard. And so Miranda Devine, I really want to hear from right now, because she's the person who originally broke the laptop story at the New York Post. Let's go.
Addiction is not a choice, but buying a gun illegally is a choice, and lying is a choice. And both of those things he is alleging that Hunter Biden did. And look, when you mention the laptop today, really it was a momentous occasion in the whole saga of the laptop that the New York Post has been living for the last 3 years and 8 months since we first broke the story from the laptop, showing that Joe Biden was involved in his family's influence peddling scheme around the world, and there's evidence on that laptop galore. And we were, of course, as you remember, traduced, censored by big tech. Twitter said that we published hacked materials, and then we had the 51 former intelligence officials calling it Russian disinformation. And today at 2:10 p.m. in Delaware, in that courtroom, the prosecutor, Derek Hines, picked up the laptop from hell, as Donald Trump dubbed it. It's wrapped in a clear plastic cover, and he bore it aloft across the courtroom to his first witness, who was an FBI agent by the name of Erica Jensen. And he asked her to identify it. She said, yes, this is Hunter Biden's laptop. I know that from the serial number on the back.
Wow. We've known it the whole time. We allowed everything to be rigged in real time. We allowed it all to happen to you because we hate Donald Trump. Remember the spies who lie? Remember the 51 intel experts? Remember how that was all put together by our Secretary of State? Ladies and gentlemen, we say it a lot on this program, and we don't like to repeat ourselves, but true understanding of the world around you is viewing your government as a criminal enterprise and viewing the people who are running that government as criminals. And this is the right framework to see this through. And once you start seeing that, then you realize that this is just a criminal enterprise that goes after other criminal enterprises that could threaten their monopoly on criminal enterprises. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in front of a group of people who are rewarding themselves for lying to the American public, for rigging the 2020 election with fake letters like the spies who lie. Can we get that New York Post cover? Let's grab that. That's a good one. The spies who lie. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to come as some not so shocking news to our friend Kash Patel, who's been telling us about this for a very long time, and been saying that the Department of Justice, but a specific group of very highly powerful, highly motivated partisans at the top of the Department of Justice, that those people are the ones doing all of this dirty work. Kash Patel, ladies and gentlemen.
The laptop, to me, is instrumental and highlights everything that's gone wrong in this country with the judicial system and the two-tier system of justice. In 2019, the FBI and DOJ knew the laptop was real and possessed it, as testified to by the FBI agent in the courtroom. So the question is, why didn't Bill Barr, as the Attorney General back then before the election, admit to the American public that that was the case? Why did he allow 51 intel officials to lie to the world about the contents and depth of Hunter Biden's laptop? And then why did the censorship regime at Twitter, Facebook, and elsewhere shut down the New York Post and call their factually accurate reporting? I find it ironic that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General for Joe Biden, was forced to admit what we've known all along in court just last week. Hunter Biden's laptop is real. And as Pam said, the evidence is damning. And now he's putting on the defense that he's blaming his dead brother's wife that he later bedded. You can put as much lipstick as you want on this crack pipe, but it's always going to belong to Hunter Biden.
Good one. Lipstick on the crack pipe. This is how far we've come. So we're getting some pretty interesting bits of news about the Bidens from inside of this courtroom. We're getting a lot of, it's worse than I thought, actually, the details of this case for Hunter. However, they have been able to effectively rig the jury pool, right? They're in Delaware. They're in a place where everybody owes Joe Biden a favor after spending 50 years in public service, really public service, but everybody owes the Bidens a favor in this part of the world. My wife is from Delaware. It's thankfully southern Delaware. But man, the way that those little states work, I mean, it really is. It's a crime family. It's a crime family. And that's why the Secret Service was there at the gun store demanding the documentation. Thankfully, that gun store owner didn't give it. We'll see what happens. Greg Jarrett, one of our favorite political analysts on Fox, saying this is not going to end well. Hunter Biden has incriminated himself too many times. He wrote a whole book muling about how much drugs he was on during this time. Don't know how they're going to be able to get past that. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's a Delaware jury, right? So, and these people watch MSNBC. So you never know. Let's go.
Nobody should trust David Weiss for the reasons you stated. He was forced to bring this case, kicking and screaming, only because of the whistleblowers and this particular federal judge. The evidence against Hunter, of course, is overwhelming. The case should have been brought 5 years ago. But that's why Joe Biden issued this fawning statement about his son at the outset of the trial. That statement was meant for those jurors, hoping they'll nullify the law and acquit. It's why Jill Biden is sitting there right behind Hunter. A visual reminder to the jurors, hey, the Bidens own this state. Unfortunately for Hunter, it turns out the best witness against Hunter is Hunter. He incriminated himself on the laptop, time-stamped photographs, doing drugs literally days before he buys the gun. And then the day after he buys it, he's messaging to his drug dealer, Mookie, to score even more crack. None of that, however, Sean, will stop his lawyer, Abby Lowell, from claiming, oh, gee whiz, my client was in denial. So he didn't think he was addicted and could not have had the requisite intent to lie or break the law. Utterly ludicrous, of course. But if a Biden-loving jury is in your back pocket already, all you have to do is give them an absurd excuse.
They're working for jury nullification. That's what's going to happen. So what the play here is unlike Donald Trump, where you take Donald Trump into what is effectively the worst possible district that you could possibly charge a Republican in. What they're doing is they're taking, Joe Biden and the Biden family to Cooperstown, right? I mean, you're talking about like the kingdom that was built, the crumbling and truly depressed kingdom. Don't drive and look around too much when you're looking through Delaware. I mean, is not a state that's being well run for sure. But I mean, this is a kingdom built by the Bidens, and they're hoping, and I think they've wired the system that there's going to be jurors who, regardless of the evidence, are just going to say, no, I believe him. Didn't you see Jill? And don't they have a wonderful love story? And isn't this all about a father's love? That's what MSNBC told me. Well, the actual crazy part is that no, it's not. The Joe Biden and Jill, everything's a lie with his family. Everything. It's all a lie, including Hunter Biden's like, I'm getting clean shtick. It's a lie. The Biden relationship itself is a lie. We don't play this clip enough, but it's just wild. Inside Edition did this coverage pre-election in 2020, where they did a little bit of a deep dive into like how did Jill and Joe Biden meet? They ended up finding Jill Biden's husband, who's just sitting around in Delaware, being like, no, Joe Biden stole my wife. This guy's a real bastard. Watch.
Joe, there was Bill, the man Jill Biden married when she was only 18. Now her ex-husband is speaking with Stephen Fabian in this exclusive television interview.
It's going to hurt her. Yeah, it's going to break her heart.
He's the ex-husband of Dr. Jill Biden, the widely admired woman who's been at Joe Biden's side for 43 years. And he has an eye-opening story to tell.
I was betrayed by the Bidens. Joe was my friend. Joe was my wife.
The Bidens' love story is now legend. How they found true love after the heartbreak of losing his wife Nelia and baby daughter in a car crash in December 1972. They even put their tale of romance front and center at the Democratic convention last month.
When I met Jill, I fell in love with her when I saw her.
As Joe Biden tells the story, he first saw Jill's photo on an advertisement in Wilmington, Delaware in March 1975. His brother Frank, who knew the model from college, set Joe up on a blind date the following night. The Bidens' love story reads like a classic fairy tale. They saw a movie together on that blind date, fell in love, and never looked back. But Jill Biden's ex-husband says there's much more to the story, claiming Jill and Joe's relationship actually started in 1974 when he was still married to Jill. It was a blind date. Point blank. Is that story true?
No, not even a little bit.
Okay. There's a lot more. That's like a 10-minute interview. And he goes on to say that Joe Biden, he got sent a bill for Joe Biden, like, crashing into somebody's car while he was driving Jill around in a convertible. This guy's the owner of a really prominent, a really prominent nightclub called the Stone Balloon. Like, everybody knew them. He knew Jill. He knew Joe. He was married to Jill. He knew Joe. Like, they were friends, and Joe stole his wife. The end. Joe was married at the time. So that's it. That's the story, ladies and gentlemen, of the Biden family. Great. They're a great family. They truly are a great family. So if you're that kind of a person and your kids begin to fall off the wagon, and you, of course, have no time for your children, you're spending all your time on your own political career and trying to run for president 40 different times, which Joe Biden did unsuccessfully, and your family's a mess, and your kids are little druggies, then the best thing, like the most immoral thing that you can do for them is to not let them ever face a consequence. And I guess the final take here on this trial is that this is the continuation of that. If Joe Biden were a moral person, he'd say, yeah, the law's for everyone. Hunter Biden is going to catch a case. Instead, the government did everything they possibly could to try and stop this case from coming to the courts. Everything. Plea deals and negotiations, and just like every spoiled little princeling, Hunter Biden couldn't just say yes. The government had to apologize for insulting Hunter Biden, for asking about his crimes that were committed on paper and on video. Their pride will be their destruction, truly. The destruction, though, of Hunter Biden really did start with Joe. And you really have to place it at the feet of the father, the failings of the children. Joe Biden, back in the 70s, back in the 80s, when Hunter Biden was still a minor, or maybe 18 years old, had just turned 18, was the first time on record that we have documented that Joe Biden got his kid out of jail for doing either cocaine or crack, but a illegal, illicit, controlled mainline narcotic that we know of in a police report. This happened in the Jersey Shore, and then fresh-faced freshman Senator Joe Biden came muscling in to say, give me the same operation. It's incredible. Give me the mugshot, release my kid from jail, and make this all go away. In case you're wondering how this operation works and how it continues to work and what the breakdown is right now, ladies and gentlemen, a final little cap on what a despicable father figure Joe Biden is for his children. Let's go.
And the Biden family has a long history of covering up cocaine charges. Ask Hunter. He'll tell you straight up, if he wasn't a Biden, he'd be in jail.
I just wonder how you viewed sort of the money you made through your clients that enabled that addiction, and also maybe the ways that protected you from consequences that might have landed a lot of other people in jail.
I think it's completely unfair, and I think that I am 100% still here today and not in a jail cell or in an institution because of my privilege, and not just the privilege of a family that loved me, but the privilege of the fact that, I had been very successful.
Back in 1988, Hunter was arrested for cocaine possession in Stone Harbor, New Jersey. But Hunter walked out with a clean record. Why? Well, his dad, senator at the time, expunged his record. And at the same time, Biden was sweeping his son's coke under the rug. Biden was throwing average Americans in prison for coke possession. Same crime.
Yeah. So there it is. As soon as you open up social media feed, you see something from Joe Biden saying, no American is above the law. No one is above the law. It's like a living, walking reminder, a flashing, obnoxious light that, yes, obviously there are people in this system above the law because we don't live in a republic. I'm not sure what you'd call it right now, but you live in a controlled oligarchy by families like the Bidens. Will Hunter Biden see justice in this courthouse? We hope so. The information that's being presented right now is demonstrable. And I don't know how rigged the jury is going to have to be to nullify, but I guess you just need one juror, right? You just need one juror. But the people who are testifying against the Bidens right now are federal intel officers, the FBI itself, Hunter Biden's own words and tapes, photographs from Hunter Biden's laptop. You could see it here. It's remarkable. They're playing videos of Hunter smoking crack and being naked. You've probably seen these things. I don't encourage you to go look them up. But you can see that this hanging in the Louvre.